Look, I got in the race in 2012 because of Obamacare. Because I have a little girl with special needs, and I know what government-run healthcare does to special needs kids. And so that was the reason I got out there and got engaged. And then, you know, one thing led to another, and I started running for president. This time around, obviously, you know, we're focused on this, but part of the reason that we're uncompetitive is because we're putting cost on businesses and on labor that makes us uncompetitive. And a lot of it is government mandates, and there's no bigger mandate than Obamacare. And people say, well, how can you repeal it? Here's something advantage I have that nobody else in the race has. I actually was in Washington during the time when you could actually get something done. And you know, we have some folks running who have Washington experience, but no record of accomplishment, because it's just been yelling back at each other. There's been just complete division there. You know, you're looking at someone who. Anybody have a health savings account? You know what a health savings account is? Health savings account? You're welcome, because I was the author of health savings accounts. And health savings accounts are in law today because of the work that we did to put health savings account in place. And what is that? That's a private sector, consumer-oriented healthcare plan that gives you the power over your healthcare dollars. That's the answer. Every Republican candidate is running on health savings accounts. So I take that as a compliment. And I will give credit also to John Kasich. John and I were actually best buddies when we were in the House together back 20 years ago, and we introduced that bill jointly. So I'll give John Kasich, you know, an attaboy for that too. But I stayed around longer than John, and I fought, and we got health savings accounts into law and expanded. Now, of course, Obama's trying to kill it. So what we need to do is, again, I have the experience to go in there and say, look, we can use what's called a reconciliation process, which is, you know, gobbledygook, but we can have a process that requires only 51 votes in the Senate, 218 votes in the House, which is a simple majority in both chambers. So you give me 50 Republican senators, and I'll give you the vice president. That makes 51, and we'll repeal Obamacare, and we'll get the reason what we can do is eliminate all taxes, all fees, all charges, everything. We take all the money out of it. All the taxes, as well as all the penalties, all the incentives, everything goes away, which means it becomes irrelevant. I mean, you have a bunch of words that have no penalty if you don't abide by them, and you replace it with a system that gives everybody equal tax treatment under federal law. If you work for an employer that has employer-provided insurance, you have a very generous tax treatment of that benefit. So let's say my employer, I have an employer, so I have an employer that pays $10,000 a year for my health care, for my family. I don't get taxed on that $10,000. It's as if it's a free benefit. If I got $10,000 in income, I'd be taxed on that $10,000, but my employer, instead of giving me the income, buys insurance, I don't pay taxes on it. That's a very generous benefit, right? And plus, my employer, just like it, he can deduct that cost. So the federal government gets big incentives because the employer can deduct it and you don't get taxed on it, right? It's usually one or the other, but not both. So if you work for an employer that doesn't provide employer-provided insurance and they just pay you wages and you go out and buy insurance, you get taxed on it, and the federal government doesn't give you any break. What we're doing is going to make sure that everybody who doesn't have employer-provided insurance has a tax credit that's refundable. In other words, if you don't pay taxes, we'll actually give you a check that's refundable that will help you pay for a basic health insurance policy. And then you can go out, and if you want to add to it, and buy policies that are out there in the marketplace. So we'll provide tax support, and then we'll promote health savings accounts and give great incentives for health savings account. Combine those together, you've got a good solid platform for everybody to have insurance. I have a question for you.